Well, what do you see here? You see a sleeping dog, Princess Penny is not saying a word this morning. She is, she didn't even want to get up in her chair here this morning. So, I don't know. We're here. You're here. I hope y'all are having a good morning. There is something that just such a travesty that happened last night, though. This is hard for me to even conceive. But thank goodness we have a good fire department. But there was a fire last night, and James Long, who had just bought a house here in the city of Greenwood, has his house burned last night. I don't know many other details other than what is on Facebook, which is very, very little at this moment. But we certainly, our hearts and prayers go out to James Long and his family. Nobody was hurt, so from that standpoint, but the house, I'm not even really sure where the house stands at this moment, but that was on Facebook early this morning. Such a travesty, for sure. So we can all just try to have hope and prayers, and when it comes to your own house, be sure that you are doing things. Like I said, I have no idea what caused it, anything else, but this is frightening to say the least. So I just wanted to go ahead and say something about it, because you will hear about it, and I don't know what all will be out there, but this is something to be very sad about. I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio, and we are here this morning. You know, the thing about life, we never know what's going to happen, do we? I guess I could put it on me, since Penny isn't doing anything exciting. We just never know what's going to happen. We never know what's going to befall us, what tragedy is going to happen to someone we love, someone we know. We just never know what's going to happen. And that's why, to me, it is so important to live every day to the fullest. And it is also so important to say the things you mean to say. So, I don't know of anything else at this moment that I could say, or anything that would make any difference, but that's just kind of that is my philosophy. So, hope that everything turns out okay for the Long family. As I said, at least they are all okay. But by the pictures on Facebook, their house is not their new house. This was their new house. I do not even know if they had gotten moved in or not. I do not know, but so sad, and such a beautiful house in that neighborhood over there. So, what else have we got here to talk about today? We got a lot to talk about, but first off, I want to address, last night I went to a community meeting for Ward 4, after we had the interview with Kip Hunter. My goodness, what a wealth of information, Kip Hunter, and what an absolutely outstanding life he has had. You know, there are people that talk about doing things, and there are people that just do things. I think they call those doers. There are doers and there are non-doers, and we have in Congress, we have a lot of non-doers. They like to talk about it. They like to have a meeting about it. Meetings, you know, that's another topic. How many meetings can you have about something? Meetings are one thing. If you have a meeting and it accomplishes something and it goes forth into an action plan of a doer, so be it. But my conversation was starting with, there are those that are doers that just go and get the job done, and there are those that talk about getting the job done and meet about the job, and on and on and on and on. So Jeff was a doer. Jeff was a doer. And it was, I think his military background had a lot to do with it. I think, but also he had parents that really cared, spent a lot of time. His mom and dad, he and his brothers were born later. They were not later in life. So from that standpoint, I guess maybe they had more time. I don't know. I knew them, but not that well. But anyways, doers. Doers are what we need in this world. Doers make sure that those that cannot do for themselves, that they're there to help. Doers look at the situation and say, I'd rather not, but this is necessary, and they do it. They don't talk about it. They don't bitch about it. They just do it. The doers in this world are the ones that need to be celebrated. They don't always do the glamorous things. They don't always do the nicest things, but they do what is necessary. And Kip Hunter is a doer. And he has spent a lifetime of service. He's had some amazing opportunities in his life to do things. And partially, I think, because he is a doer. He knows how to get in there and get the job done. And for that, we are thankful for people such as Kip Hunter. I was thankful for Jeff because he was a doer. And there are many others out there that are doers. But there really is a difference between a doer and a talker. And I'm a talker. I like to think I'm a doer. But maybe a doer from a different aspect. I'm a doer from recognizing a situation and trying to get in there and do what is necessary. So I like to say I am a doer from that standpoint. I may not be one that can do it and get in there and do some of the other things, but I am a doer, and I spent an awful lot of time thinking about what needs to be done. So therefore, I'm putting myself in the doer category, but not in the extreme doer category like Kip Hunter, Jeff Eller, and many, many others out there that I could mention, but I am not. But if you want an interesting interview to go back and listen to, go back and watch Kip Hunter, Colonel Kip Hunter, who was on the radio with us yesterday afternoon. Our major topic was talking about why what President Trump is doing with Iran is the right thing at the right time. And I know some of you are going to turn up your noses and go, But when Kip lays out how these things come together, the background of the mullah, the Ayatollah, how all this came together, it's a most fascinating discussion and one you should hear. So I highly recommend you go back and watch that one. You'll be glad that you did. So that was yesterday afternoon. Then after that, I went to a community meeting over there on Sample Road at the church. Is it Laurel? No, I don't remember the name, but the church right over there, literally behind Ollie's. And the police chief was there. Jonathan Bass was there. Julie Wilkie was there. And a couple of other people were there to talk about and answer any questions and concerns of the community. Now, here's something that I found totally amazing. There were maybe 10 people there. And I just found that amazing. Because why would there be just 10 people there when they just had a shooting in their area over there at Lamar's right next to Ollie's? Why would there be just 10 people there? Any ideas? I don't have any ideas. here we have all this gun violence that everybody is ramping up and upset about and everything. Here's an opportunity to meet with the police chief, the city manager, city council person, and there's only 10 people there. I find that amazing. There was a lot of good information given out at that, and there were some great questions. But why were there not more people there? That is the main question. They have a great idea on who these young people are who are shooting up things. They talk about how their hands are tied by state policy, guidelines, all this type of stuff. They did a great job. TJ Shadone did a great job of explaining some of these things. They made it quite clear, each and every one of them, Julie Wilkie, Jonathan Bass, TJ Shadone, made it very clear that pick up the phone and call them. That is what they say. So, after the conversation, I happened to talk to TJ for a few moments. I brought up the fact of the money that it costs to send a juvenile down to the juvenile center in Columbia. And you know that I've been railing against the fact that it's $150 a day. Well, as I was talking to TJ, I said, at three, I knew 3 were down there. He informed me we had six juveniles down there. So that's like $6,000 a month. He then told me that the police station or police department had put aside $10,000 for that juvenile, putting a juvenile down there in the juvenile detention center. They're at $6,000. They will be, if all 6 of these juveniles are there a month, they will have spent $6,000 of their $10,000 budget. That leaves $4,000 left. So, of course, the next logical question, what happens next? He goes, the city has to pay for it. So even though TJ's office had put $10,000 aside, that $10,000, where did they get the budget money from? From the city. So they budgeted for $10,000. Here it is April, and they're already, if all 6 stay there a month, you're already over you are at $6,000. I then asked TJ, sending a juvenile down to the juvenile center down there has to cross a police officer, his mind, is this the right decision to send them down there? Do they need to be incarcerated? His answer, yes, it does affect, because it's costing $150 of taxpayer money every day. This is a ridiculous situation. I am not blaming the police chief. $150 a day for each one of them. Yes, it's each one. That's how, with six juveniles, it costs $6,000, or a little over $6,000. It was $3,150 for 30 days. So I guess it would be $6,300 for 6 juveniles down there. As I was saying, so I asked TJ, our police chief, does that influence your decision on sending a juvenile down there? He said, of course. You're thinking about it's going to cost you $150 a day to send that juvenile down there. Is there any way that we don't have to send that juvenile down there? To me, that is a travesty. I don't blame the police chief. I don't blame anybody here, but people need to recognize how hard a decision, because that is taxpayer dollars. That's yours and my dollars. The city government doesn't get their money any other place except from, well, I think I had done it a little bit longer but the bottom line is it's roughly $3,000. Roughly $3,000. And so it's still, the dollars add up very quickly. for a person. So how would you feel? How would you feel? How do you feel knowing that this is one of the issues that is happening out there? I think you should feel bad because this puts us in a quandary, and yet there are definitely ones that need to go down to Columbia, be in juvenile justice. They are simply too, and their parents cannot handle them. What a travesty. What a travesty. So, just something to think about. I don't know where I got that answer. It's got to be more. $150 a day times 30 days. That's $4,500 is what I'm coming up with. So that's actually more than what I was saying here. So the bottom line is they will be out of their $10,000 budget. They will be out. And then where will they get the money from? Well, they'll have to go to the city because it has to be paid. Here's something else you may not know. If they don't pay this money, bad things happen to your police department, like getting in trouble with the state. So what do you got to do? You got to pay it. So this is not an option. This is not an option. So that is one thing that I wanted to cover from the meeting the other night. That I thought was huge. I think it is huge that they know who these bad actors are. I think it's huge that they feel in a lot of cases powerless to do something. In one case that they were talking about that had happened, these kids got into a fight, guns were shot, and then after the fact, the police department finds out from somebody that knew these kids and everything, oh yeah, they fought all the time. And TJ says it would have been nice to have known that there was an issue between these two kids. Would there have been anything that they could have done? Maybe or maybe not. But when you have parents that do not take the time to care about what their children are doing, or maybe they were raised in this same thing, it is a perpetual cycle. What can be done? I don't think anybody knows. I think that the meeting that they are having Monday night is to help show what they would like to see happening. We'll talk more about that later. But that this is a meeting, and my first comment to TJ was, well, who does that help the most? Does that help the parents that care? What about the parents that don't care? This goes back to my same topic when a politician tells me that parents know what is best for their children. I always ask this question. Well, I don't always ask because it's not always appropriate and it's going to get me in trouble as it is. But the bottom line is, but how about parents that don't know how to be parents? How about the parents who think the school district's responsibility is to do this or some other source? How about those? What is the answer? Well, we're going to have TJ on, and we're going to talk more about this issue probably the first week not next week, but the week after. We're going to schedule some time for TJ to come in and talk about it. But that's some of the things that were discussed in that meeting. The great thing about that meeting is that they are open to answering any and all questions. And so when you have and it's not limited to those people last night was, I believe, Ward 4. Anybody can go to any of the meetings. And that is what is surprising to me, is that people don't want to come out and get informed, which rails against my thing that our officials need to have more town halls and this type of thing. I think all anybody has to do is say, yeah, Ann Eller, look at how that turned out. It's sad. It's sad. Y'all want to get on the keyboards and criticize and everything else out there. But when it comes down to sitting down or standing up and talking to officials about your problems, you don't want to do it. So the next time you give an opportunity, I hope you'll go to the meeting. Take your keyboard with you if you must. but give our local politicians as such, our county council, our city administrator, all the people that work there, and our police department the opportunity to hear from you and hear what you are concerned about. Because if you don't go, you are part of the problem. Okay, now, there you go. So, Penny, what do you have to say about that? Well, that fell on deaf ears. You don't have any problems. She says she doesn't have any problems. She doesn't care about it. She gets her food. She gets everything she wants. All right. Anyways, that was one of the issues that I wanted to address. But it is hard for political or public officials. We won't even call them political. We'll call them public officials. Those on our local city, county, etc., to be able to answer and help with problems if they don't know what you know. And you, of course, are closest to the situations that are happening in our community. Anyways, I did want to just stress $150 a day times 30 days, that's $4,500 a month, just to send a juvenile down there too. So I was way off when I was talking about this. $4,500 a month to send a person down there. Not only that, the police department, sheriff's department, whatever, has to go pick this person up, take them back, and of course that is time and money. So communities that have problems, such as ours, are paying a lot of money to do this. And as I said, I'm going to say it one more time. How hard is it when you're looking at the public's dollars to say, yeah, this kid needs to go to Columbia? What would be some alternatives would be my question. And is there? I don't even know if there is any alternatives. So we're going to move on, talk about some other topics. One of the topics I wanted to talk about this morning is, this falls right in with what we've just been talking about. The state strips Chief Hill's certification and finds the Calhoun Falls Police Department. You know, the situation over there in Calhoun Falls just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. State regulators voted Tuesday to strip former interim police chief Perry Hill of his law enforcement certification and fined the Calhoun Falls Police Department more than $20,000 after finding falsified records, compliance failures, and ongoing issues within the agency. Let me tell you something. Here's what I'd have to say. The state don't play. That's an understatement. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Training Council unanimously approved a request to withdraw Hill's certification during a hearing on Wednesday. The withdrawal follows investigative findings that he willfully falsified material information, provided false statements to investigators, and submitted false documents to the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. I think that probably most of us don't realize how much paperwork and how oversight with the police departments, as it is and as it should be, but how much paperwork and how much of these type of things have to be checked off. And so they provide, one of the things that they said, provided false statements to investigators and submitted false documents to the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. He was notified February 27th that his certification had been suspended. The town also received notification from the academy the same day. So, in a separate action, council voted to find, this is the law enforcement division, to find the Calhoun Falls Police Department out of compliance with state law and training requirements and imposed a $20,740 fine. Now, I'm talking about finding $150 a day to take a juvenile down to the Juvenile Justice Center. And where is the city of Calhoun going to find $20,740 for the fine? Hopefully, that if they It says officials warn that failure to comply with the fine and state standards could result in escalating sanctions, including the potential loss of certification for officers within the Calhoun's District Police Department. Mayor cites ongoing challenges. They got a lot of challenges down there. I'm going to tell you what, I really give kudos to Mayor Vigo Lasson for actually running for mayor down there and becoming the mayor of Calhoun Falls. That is a job that I would think nobody would want, and only a very few would be able to do the job. Mayor Vigo Lasson told council the town is working to recover from issues tied to previous administration policies and acknowledged ongoing challenges. How about ongoing mountains to try to climb? He said, we're trying to get things straightened out, adding the town faces financial and operational difficulties as it works to rebuild its police department. So that is just a little bit. That was an article in the Index Journal today. So what do you think about that? How would you like to live in a community that is in that bad a shape? I mean, getting their water, all these things that are city government are issues over there, and they don't really have any way to straighten these out. So question is, what will happen to Calhoun Falls if they're not able to do this? I have no idea. I don't know what the next step is. I could investigate it, but I don't know what the next step is. But it certainly is not something good. So that is why we are blessed here in Greenwood to have a city administrator, a department that handles all this. You know, some people have suggested that the strong mayoral style of government, which is what Calhoun Falls has, meaning the mayor is the one responsible for the day-to-day running of the city, the town, or whether we have a city government that includes a city manager, city administrator, whatever term you want to use. Greenwood has a strong city manager program, and the council simply approves, disapproves, but Julie works for the council and brings things to the council. I think we are pretty blessed to have a community that is set up this way. There has been out there on Facebook and whatnot, there have been some discussion that maybe we don't need that. I say all you have to do is look at Calhoun Falls, 96, Saluda, some of these other smaller towns that have a strong mayoral, because the two jobs are just not consistent. The type of person that is the mayor should be an outgoing, gregarious type person, interested in helping bring business and festivals and fun things to your community. And an administrator is somebody who likes checking the books, getting all the numbers right, and making sure that type of thing, and working with the employees, supervising all the employees that a community has. Yes, you're listening to WCRS. Yes, it's 10 o'clock in the city of Greenwood. So here's what I say. We are blessed to have this type of structure of government because it keeps things running and keeps things smooth. We've seen too many times in the last year or so a lot of different smaller communities with that strong mayoral type of government that have big issues, ongoing suits, money issues, everything. So to me, having a council and a mayor that is searching for the best opportunities for Greenwood, and to have an administrator that makes sure that the community runs well, are certainly a winning combination, and we are blessed. So that's just a little bit about that. But if you read that article in the Index Journal, you'd be going, "Oh my God, we don't want anything like that." The very fact that the state can strip your police department, can decertify your police chief. These are frightening things, I think, and leaves you wide open in a world today where that just isn't acceptable. All right, so that's a little bit more about something that I thought you might be interested in this morning. Well, who's on her high horse this morning? I guess Ann Eller is. But you know what? There is... sometimes you just have to talk about these things, folks. And like I said, I'm sort of a doer. I am a doer, but not a doer from one that, just goes off into the wild to do stuff. No, I sit right here at my desk, and I am a doer. I am a doer from this standpoint, and thank God for the doers in this world who are able to make their points, get the job done, bring people home from serious situations, protect our communities when that is necessary to do. Those are the doers. And we do not always understand why they are doers, but we're thankful that we have the doers in our society. Amen. All right, Ann. Amen. Amen. Okay. Well, this is something I didn't know, that tuition is increasing at Piedmont Technical College, but nearly 90% of students are still expected to attend at little or no cost. Paige Childs, Vice President for Business, Finance, and Facilities Management, said during Tuesday's Area Commission meeting that the cost per credit hour will rise slightly from $195.17 to $202.50 that's a $7.33 increase, or 3.6. When evaluating whether to raise tuition and fees, Piedmont Tech considered national benchmarks, including the Higher Education Index. So, Higher Price Index. Higher Education Price Index, which also sits at 3.6%. So, but most of that, I think the state is still covering. So that is just FYI, something to know. For years, I think the tuition has been frozen, but I guess they are moving it forward. All right. This is a couple of other things that I wanted to talk. Okay. Reports of substandard work at park could cost Abbeville. Why can't we just do the work right? That's what I want to know. Why can we not just do the work right? Anyways, we don't have time to talk about that today. Maybe we'll come back and check that one out. Other things that we should be talking about this morning. What did I have? I had some things written down here. Let's go ahead and check the weather. Looks like we're going to have a lovely meeting. I think you're 150 times $30 a day. That's $4,500 per person. Anyways, all right. Let's move on and talk about the weather. Whatever the weather will be. Check it. Here we are. Outlook, mostly it's 70 degrees out there right now. Feels like 70 degrees. We are looking for a high of 84. Outlook, mostly sunny today. High of 84. Bright and mostly clear skies mean it'll be a good day to keep your sunglasses. That's right. I don't know what this Weather Channel, they just keep talking about your sunglasses every day. All right, let's see what the rest of the weekend looks like. Saturday, it is high of 83, low of 60, and about a 50% chance of showers. Let's check that a little bit closer here. On Saturday, mostly sunny skies during the morning hours will give way to occasional showers in the afternoon. High 83 and chance of rain 50%, but do not let that bother you about the festival going on over there in Hodges this weekend. That's exactly what it says in the weather report. No, it doesn't. I'm just kidding. That doesn't sound like it says like there may be some showers. But let's see what they're talking about Saturday night. Rain showers early with mostly cloudy conditions late. Areas of patchy fog. Low around 60 degrees. Chance of rain drops down to 40%. Doesn't sound like that will affect the big festival over there at Hodges. I hope you're going to get out and enjoy it. Over there, the Hodges Volunteer Fire Department does an excellent job with their festivals, and kudos and shout out to Tammy Baber, who just is awesome at promoting and working hard to make that festival come together, as she was in organizing all of them over there to be a big part of the food drive that the county versus the city had. So, what are we looking at Sunday? We are looking at beautiful weather, high of 81, low of 52. Monday, high of 77, low of 54. And Tuesday, the 28th. That's going to be a very significant day. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's going to be a very significant day. In fact, I am not going to be here Tuesday morning. Penny has already said she would take care of the show. I'm not sure about this, but this is what she said. She would take care of the show. But we probably won't have a show Tuesday morning. But high of 73 on Tuesday, low of 58, about a 50% chance of rain. Wednesday, I will be back, and there will be a big announcement. How's that for telling you that something big's happening? Okay. Wednesday, a high of 81, low of 59, about a 40% chance of rain. Thursday, 79. Friday, 70. Saturday, 68. 68? Sunday will be a high of 72. So that's kind of your weather forecast. Looks like it's pretty amenable to what we like to have this time of the year. All right. In other news, Penny, what'd you got to say? You got something to say here this morning? You think that it's time that we finish the show? If you were watching this, she's put her head on my arm and she's saying, I think it's time you shut up. You say, what? I think it's time you shut up. All right. Well, anyways, I'm in a crazy mood this morning. All right. Anyways, what else do we have going on here that we need to discuss? Is there anything else? There is a lot to always discuss. I just want to say to the lady that out there who always takes the pictures of the eagles, Her Majesty Liberty and bald eagles out there, it is a fantastic way to keep up with nature and to see what is in our area. That is one of my favorite things, to have that come through and see that every day, to see what she is bringing up. All right, so what else do we have here this afternoon or this morning to talk about? It's Friday, and you're done for the week. We will be back tomorrow morning with the show, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Tomorrow is e-waste and shred day. Shred it, Greenwood. That's right. I want to make sure that if you have things that need to be shredded, with your name on it, it is the perfect opportunity to take it out there. Let's go ahead and say, shred it, Greenwood.
Shred it, Greenwood. Saturday, April 25th, 9 to 12, at St. Mark United Methodist Church on the Bypass. We will shred any personal documents with your info. Don't forget, e-waste recycling is available. TV, computers, printers, and such. No phones, keyboards, or computer mice accepted. Free to Greenwood residents only. Sorry, no businesses. Donations gladly accepted. See you on Saturday, April 25th. Let's shred it, Greenwood.
Well, there you go. Shred it on Saturday. That is and your e-waste. I think it's very interesting, and I would love to know the answer because I don't know the answer to this. Why do they take no computer monitors, but they take TVs? I don't understand that. And no keyboards and no computer mice. I don't understand that, but, I guess it's not for me to know. I could probably find out, but I don't know at this moment. If you know, 864-332-9355, 864-332-9355. Let's go ahead and check and see any questions or whatnot coming in this morning. Okay, nothing we're going to talk about. Okay, that's not what we're going to talk about. Well, we have a lot of comments here this morning and nothing I can tell you about. What does that say? All right, let's go back to from whence we were. Where were we? Were we over here? Nope. Oh, we must have been right here. Okay, nope, we're at the wrong one. All right. Food giveaway, Saturday, April 25th. That is Saturday, starting at 9:30 a.m. New Faith Presbyterian Church, 2715 Highway 72, right here in Greenwood. It's called Grace in a Grocery Box. They will be doing that starting at 9:30 at New Faith Presbyterian Church, 2715 Highway 72, right here in Greenwood. So if you are in need of food, please make sure you take advantage of that. The RTC Lunchbox series will continue next Monday, opening at 5 o'clock. Indigenous Underground will be working with the G. Frank Russell Culinary Department to bring you good food. So if you're making a plan on Monday for food, plan on eating at the RTC Lunchbox, which will be set up right in front of Hobby Lobby. So make sure you check that out. That's the news about Amazon just keeps growing by leaps and bounds. This is such an exciting thing for 96 to have this opportunity to have new growth, new life in their community, I think is absolutely terrific. So I wish them all the best in getting all of this done. The Hodges Festival actually starts this evening at 5 o'clock. They do have lots of rides out there, concessions, food trucks, all this good stuff. They're going to have great music for tonight and tomorrow. They'll have music on the stage. So make sure that you get out there and enjoy that. Plus, the big thing, this really is big. They have all these raffles and everything that you can participate in. So please make sure that you get out there. Make sure you get some raffle tickets. Check all that out. You will certainly be glad you did. It is a fundraiser to raise funds for their fire department over there. By the way, if everyone should need a fire department and you happen to be very close or you have an accident or problems on 25, you should be thankful that the Hodges Fire Department would be right there to help you. So, just another FYI. But that is going on. Also, the wrestling that was supposed to go on at the farmers market has now been moved to the jiu-jitsu place. Let's see, I believe that is what I was being told. It will return to the Divinius Lux Jitsu at 1310 bypass 25 Northeast right here in Greenwood. So they were supposed to be in Abbeville, then they were going to be at the farmers market. So I guess this is the final location. That is for this Saturday. Admission price $10 for adults, $12 and up, $5 for children 12 to 6 years old. Free admission under 6. So that is this Saturday, and they will have quite a combination of those out there. So make sure you are checking that out too. If you like wrestling, etc., check that out. Other things that are happening. Tomorrow is World Tai Chi Day, and they are having a free World Tai Chi Day class at West Cambridge Park at 10 a.m. So that is going on. Also going on, they're having a vendor market and basket raffle benefiting the Humane Society. Oh, that doesn't come up till May 9th. I thought I was a little early for that. Anything else? Gotta get your tickets. Let me tell you, you gotta get your tickets for the Run for the Roses, the Kentucky Derby Party. The last date to buy tickets is next week. It is the 30th, and the event is on May 2nd. That is an event you don't want to miss. So, please get your tickets. Call the museum, 864-229-7093. That's 864-229-7093. Sports Break is going to have the Magic Band tomorrow at 8 p.m. And what else do we see? Oh, no, that's not coming up. Okay, we got it. I think that's about all I know about for today. I may know about something else, and maybe I'm not sharing it, but it is not intentional. And I appreciate your attention to this matter. Ha, ha, ha. I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. There were some heavy topics I was going to get into today, but I've decided it's Friday. Why get into heavy topics? We have talked about enough heavy topics. People need to get engaged. That is one of the biggest messages I hope that you get from today's show. I hope you get the message that there are doers and those that go to meetings all the time. The doers are which are the ones that we need more. We need more doers in this world. And number 3, when you have an opportunity to go to an event that is for your benefit, like town meetings, like Ward 4 meetings, Ward 3 meetings, Ward 5 meetings, please take advantage of them. It is what is necessary to help our community. I'm Ann Eller. That's going to do it for me, Princess Penny. Have you got anything else to say here? Are you ready for me to say, let's go have dinner? If you could see the look on her face, it is just hysterical. Well, you can. If you're watching, you can. You can also go back and watch it. She's already saying, come on, hurry up. All right, I am going to say this. We are going to drop the curtain on Penny. There you go, drop the curtain on Penny. We're going to cue the music. Say I do. I'll be back in the morning to hopefully you'll join us when we talk about great music, trash to treasures along a country road. I want to say this before I go.
Have you noticed that things feel a little strange? A little peculiar? That's because we're living in Bizarro World.
We do live in Bizarro World, but that's why we all need to stick together, folks. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.